Amy, sir, we are broadcasting live on YouTube, so it's being recorded and being sent throughout the township.
Chris, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Hello. How are you?
Alright. Yeah, they have live recording on YouTube. Yeah, I just got the name.
Well, we know, yeah.
Okay. Alright, Bob, I'll catch you later.
Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Trouble. Hey, Trouble. Hi, Jim. Everything has different names. Depending upon how ornery they are, John.
Switching?
I don't care if you want to cheat or somehow take it.
I know.
Almost none. All right, hi Jeff.
Oh, they did, that's nice. Did you see somebody post something that said YouTube? No, Brewers have gone.
Not that long.
Team that's beaten the
That's Chris on the phone.
Brewers during the playoff run as well. So it's really cool to kill it.
Or did you have 2+1?
I saw that pop up, like, right when the 2 Tuesday earlier that I saw somebody post that.
But then you, I mean, you can only take information.
What do you think Major League Baseball wants? I don't want, I didn't want like Detroit. Talk with the people I watched, it was Indians, Dodgers. So you broke that over that, so isolated, because the last time was mentioned, was the viewership. I'm back. Because I really don't care. Detroit a little for viewership.
The White Sox. So they had the last 13 or something, their average attendance was 7.
Wow. What was the price? I think it's, what was the price of the ticket?
$8. You get $8.
Wow.
Like that.
Maybe you have that set up. That might have been that one.
Yeah. See, that's all right, yeah.
Starts like blue film like that.
Yeah, it'll be like up there now.
Oh, really? We had one in there, my dad didn't tell us to kill it.
That's the fonts were over years.
It was insane.
Of course. He couldn't kill it. Doesn't have a gun.
Right here. Across here. Pretty cool.
Guess not coming.
Should be. Use it.
No. Oh, yeah.
He found her.
I figured out you might be able to do a tractor by. What's that? I figured out you might be able to do, so. Right by your house,
Oh,
across the road. 10-year-old.
Shouldn't Barry, you can see both of them on the Robeson. You know where it came from.
yeah.
Good evening, sir.
I figured the more information we have, the better.
Busy, busy.
call the Robeson Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order on October 15th at 7 o'clock. And the first two pledge allegiance, a moment of silence for all military personnel. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Mrs. Doyle.
Present.
Mr. Gallo. Mr. Rhodes.
Here.
Mr. Bicker.
Here.
All right, we'll do citizens' concerns. If anybody has a concern, comment, feel free. Name, address, please.
I'll go.
Name, please.
Harold Steve, 3700 Main Street. One half of that tree that's hanging out where 724 is falling down, I don't know whether anybody was injured, whether it caused an accident. But what are we doing about getting the other half of the larger half of it taken down? It's a dead tree, it's gonna fall and kill somebody.
Where was that?
It's between Annie Street and Aqueduct on 724. I know somebody had to be called out to cut it up, the limit was there. So they'll cut up there on the
For
plat.
nothing about it. You said between Ash Street and Aqueduct?
Annie Street and Aqueduct.
Okay.
I just,
We're calling to PennDOT and that's what Barry and I can do and we'll see what we can do.
anybody else? All right, Rich, correspondence.
Okay, the first piece of correspondence in your packets is requesting the Morgantown Village Library, which is $7,500 contribution. That would go under line 4, 5, 6, 700. What I want to explain to everybody here on the board is in 2023, the Village Library did not make a request for a donation. They did make one in early 2024, which we have already paid. What they are essentially looking for is us to make an additional payment this year of $7,500 because they did not request one last year. It's also my understanding, having spoken to the folks at the Village Library, that the reason that they made that request is that they were in a transition between leadership at the Village Library last year, and that's why the library did not go out. So this is just for your consideration.
What did we approve earlier on? How much was it?
$7,500 per year and per annum. It's been that way for the last, since 2020.
So we already gave him 75.
We gave, so they didn't request one in 2023, so we zeroed out.
At the beginning of this year.
But we did give them $7,500 at the beginning of this year, yes, sir.
What, and more than that wasn't in the budget, and half the people use Birdsboro Library, which we don't do anything with,
Correct.
or Exeter, and some use it, but not to the extent that they used to.
Correct.
This, I don't know, this is probably part of our budget discussion then.
Yeah.
Correct, so the issue would be whether or not you'd probably want to look at an increased contribution in 2025. We have it posted right now for $7,500. What I would suggest, based on my review of this, is that that'd be a consideration. So we couldn't reopen the 2023 budget at the time that it was paid, so it had already been reconciled, so can't go back. All right, next, let's see, most of the next beef we have, that's just some key sets information. Then there's one from Brooks Nature, State of the Environment Breakfast and Program. There's one from Service Electric. What I'd like to note for I, K, and L, and this is really something we should probably discuss, and particularly I and K, we do not have a specific donation line. Berks County District Attorney is asking for a $750 contribution. We can place that where you feel appropriate. I know we've done that in the past. I don't have where we've taken it from in the past with me this evening. And then the next one, Jay, of course, is their crime alert. School County River Greenways, they've also made a donation request. Again, we don't have a general donation line code anywhere in our budget at this point. That might be something we want to look at for the future as we develop our budget for 2025, just so that we have some place to place those as they come into us.
Any thoughts on that, or do we wanna wait till budget, potentially have that, since we don't have line items?
Yeah, well, let's wait till the budget, because I have some questions about Schuylkill River Greenways. It's caused us more aggravation than it has helped us. You know, we got more thefts, more of this, more than that, you know, so it's kind of like, what are they gonna do to help? Because I put in that I would go to class to learn about writing grants for this kind of thing, because we keep getting bit by it. You know? I mean, Jason, if I'm wrong, tell me, but we've had more since that's gone in, even though you may not have been here the whole time. Since that's gone in, we've had more thefts along that area,
Yeah,
you know, so I don't mind giving money, but then, and I don't mind looking at grants for us for these kind of things, but to me, you know, I know there's been more thefts in my area, there's been more along here, and they created that goes back to the reservoir in Birdsburg. Again, someone else's wonderful idea for nature, but we all live out in nature. So, and 82 is another nightmare we got. So we've acquired a lot of nightmares with good intentions, but they haven't quite turned out with good intentions. So, I'd like to.
thefts are up, not only for Robeson Township, just in Berks County in general.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot more trouble since we've had these different places where everybody can just go, freely wander, and then they're on someone else's property and things disappear.
Right.
So, you know,
I mean, is there any correlation to those thefts in the trail or no? You don't really have that.
I asked Dennis, I asked Castle, so I had that answer before Dennis, now to him.
Yeah, so, we are currently investigating, an incident that happened in Robeson Township, and that we do believe that they came off one of the nature trails, so. I would say yes.
Well, then you've also got needles and other things down in 82 that don't need to be there, you know, so there's just a lot of issues that come with this, trying to help give everybody an opportunity for nature, but I think we've gotta be a lot more responsible in about how we do it. I don't begrudge it, I just wanna do it so that you protect the rights of our residents too.
So does anybody wanna do anything about that stuff now, or you wanna wait?
No, I can
I
wait till
think
the
we should
budget.
make a budget, whatever, and
Yeah,
then
we
make
can
decisions.
Okay.
Yeah, Rich?
All right, the last one on there is actually Morgantown Village Library. That was a placeholder from our previous meeting, and that event actually occurred over this last week. That was a later event. And with that, any other questions?
There are correspondence that came in, that don't appear here, one from a township resident that seemed to be supportive of our acting chief, and then another email from one of our officers. Is there some reason why that's not included?
If you'd like me to include those in the future.
I'd like you to include particularly relevant correspondence.
Anything else, Rich?
No, sir.
Are we ready?
Good evening, Board. First thing I have on my agenda is the 457 plan that we spoke about briefly last meeting. The officers asked me if I could come to you guys, and which I did send an email with some of the information, stuff like that. See if you'd be willing to allow them to participate. Like I said, it's not gonna just be the police force, it'll be all Robeson Township employees at their cost.
It's no cost to the township, right, if I'm reading that.
There's gonna be a small administrative cost where the fiscal officer will have to put in whatever they're withholding from their paycheck. But everything comes on the pro plan account, which comes out, the officers or whoever elects to participate in it, it'll come out of their paycheck.
How small is small for the administrative fees? They're every year.
For the fiscal officer to be able to do it,
How long do you think that will take?
I believe you said about, what, 10 minutes?
About 10 minutes per paper, so over the course of the year.
And then it's just the normal fees we pay to ADP, so it shouldn't, it's just another field
And
that
if we
gets
can
under.
set that in ADP, we certainly
Yeah,
will, but
it's
it'll
just
be an
another-
automatic with an ADP. And I'll brief that during the pay scheduling
Yeah,
discussion.
makes
Talk
sense.
a little about how that's going to flow.
There's no reason to not allow somebody to save money to use for their health or health and social pension. I don't see any reason to not do it.
And John, this one have any conflict with the contract or anything?
With the police collective bargaining contract. This would be optional, so if it's optional, it should not have any impact.
It's
Question.
voluntary.
As I recall, the bank also has fees for handling these accounts.
Yeah, we're not gonna go with, what was it, Fulton Bank? We were gonna go with Nationwide, where all the fees are opted on whoever elects to participate in it.
So it goes back to the employee, it doesn't come from us or from the bank. We're not paying administrative fees for anything else. It's all outside and the employee pays for it. Therefore, we hold no responsibility.
We've struggled, in my opinion, administratively, and creation of another obligation, if you will, another oversight is gonna add, fuel to that problem.
Well, there's only one field that needs to be entered once it's been set up in AGP. When you do anybody's payroll, you put in what they've made, withholdings calculated automatically, everything gets put in. So this isn't a matter of it's going to be a problem. It's a very simple thing, and if there's a mistake, you know what I mean? I don't see that.
How many people on the police force wanna do this?
I believe everybody.
And you're gonna find out that probably some of the people who we employ, Rich, in the office and Barry's group would probably be interested too.
From Public Works interested in it as well?
I believe Brian.
Brian potentially is, I might be interested.
Richard, when I ask about other struggles, you and I discussed an overpayment apparently.
Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on that?
So there was an email that went out yesterday morning, I think that would be,
I'm asking you to elaborate that now. Public doesn't get all the emails.
is that something we should add to the agenda, or?
Yeah.
Sir, I'm asking you
I think.
to comment on overpayments as it relates to the budget, the police, the managers, etc. You know what issue I'm talking about, and you continue, and this board continues to dance around the issue.
Just ask the question and let it be.
I asked a question.
So based on the email, what happened was that our administrator, our fiscal assistant, entered a payment into the system, did not understand that they could not essentially process off-cycle payments. They immediately called ADP and they let them know what had happened, that it was scheduled for the wrong date, it's the wrong amount, slightly above. ADP at that point in time made the correction on their end, sent emails confirming that they had done so. The correct amount was paid on the 5th of February, as it was supposed to be.
What was the amount?
It's for $12,000.36.
No, wait, they made an admittance to you in an email stating that they made the error.
They made the correction, they did not note the error that was made. On the 15th, the original payment was made and then immediately voided by the bank. The challenge in that particular set, and we can only make at this point in time an educated assumption that in fact they recognized the error that they had made, immediately attempted to avoid it. However, at that point in time, you had to wait 24 hours, from my understanding, for the bank to hold it. When they went back to recoup that fund from the bank, the money would have been removed and the account closed.
That
The
would be
bank didn't
their
make an error, the
responsibility.
payroll didn't make an error, we made the error and it cost us $12,000. Is that
No,
true or false?
No, the bank,
I believe that to be false.
the bank,
Either way,
Had 24
what was
hours.
our obligation to make a payment in that instance? $12,000.
$12,000.
Okay, and how much did we pay?
Paid $12,030.36.
And $12,000 again, twice.
$12,100 and $106.58.
So someone authorizes that payment, someone authorizes that payment again.
that's not true.
Sir, the payment was entered into the system. We didn't authorize that payment, we called them to have them stop that payment.
No, you authorized the payment when you entered it into the system. You continued to dance, and this is, folks, this is not an isolated instance.
No.
There has been so many times where we have taken,
Come on.
put money in an account, taken money, I'm explaining
You
something
should
here.
gavel.
Let him explain, cause he has all the emails.
Well,
Yeah, and all you're doing is interjecting.
Well,
So let Rich.
I'm
Let him
talking
talk.
about the historical problem we've had that's
let
been
him-
repeated again.
Let-
Joy,
Well,
just
then
let-
turn around and use your gavel.
Just,
So, we did not even realize that there was an overpayment. The bank had never informed, the ADP had not informed us that they had made the error on the 15th and made the second payment. We did not know that until our budget review, when we discovered that there was a payroll transaction that had not cleared. And that's when we went back and looked. Our Herbine representative, as the email I sent to you said, our Herbine representative called them. That's when they told us that in fact that they had made the error and that it was our responsibility to get that money back. I believe that it would be best, this would be my suggestion, is I call EDP again and pursue that matter, as I do not believe that that is an error on our part.
No,
Now, who do
and
you
bank
deal with
holds.
Who do you deal with at ADP? What's the person's name?
No, you're not claiming.
I will work through our Irvine representative, sir.
I'm
Well,
asking
maybe
you what the ADP person's name is. I'm not asking you
I do not know
for.
who the Irvine representative spoke to the question.
And Joan, what do you think? I know you,
I believe that if ADP has made an error, and it sounds like ADP has made an error, that ADP should be the one to put it right, and I believe that we should be contacting ADP and getting them to respond to our emails, respond to our demand, and to rectify the error, including the name of the representative at ADP. And we make our best efforts to try to resolve the error and recoup the $12,000. Again, it does sound like it was an ADP error, an error in the ADP system, and I don't believe it was the town. Maybe ADP or the bank's attempt to recoup the payment from the one that made way.
Can I please interject?
I don't
The
think-
bank holds for 24 hours. When I need to place a stop on something that's happened and it was an error, okay, if I find it, I call the bank. I was told, you have to wait till it goes through tomorrow, and we may actually hold it the extra day. Problem, they have actually gone in the next day and taken care of the issue. So ADP was negligent in going back to them and having them address it. So I call and say, hey, this, there's a hold on it for 24 to 48 hours sometimes. Okay, fine. So I call back the next morning, yep, it dropped, you can take care of it. So they didn't do their due diligence on ADP's end to correct it when they knew there was an error by them with the bank.
so I mean, I think whatever Rich or Joan or both have to do to get it back is what needs to be done.
Well, I don't think the characterization, in all due respect, is accurate. And another thing to our solicitor all the time, and getting opinions and getting letters. I saw something come out unannounced on the police manual. You know, the reason why the budget is what the budget is this is a bobblehead board where we look to the solicitor. Okay, we don't need a letter yet. I believe we've made the error, and let's get to the bottom of the facts of it. And this is not an isolated incident, folks, where we put money in an account. No, we've done it to other employees and former employees. This is a historical problem, Chris.
Fine,
Stop,
now we
Mr.
gotta,
Bittler.
we're dealing with this issue right now, so Rich needs to
Stop.
do what he needs to do to get the money back. And he has the correspondence, he has the facts, I know Jones looked at the facts from stuff, so let's have Rich do what he needs to do to get the money
Exactly.
back.
Agreed. Do we need a motion on that?
We're gonna need a
Or can
motion
we
to
agree
work
to
with
do
the
it?
solicitor to.
I mean, that's not on the agenda anywhere.
I don't think a motion, I think it's just something
This is-
where you
Okay.
direct
Just wanna
the
make sure.
manager, and if he needs
Done
some
deal.
advice on something, he can.
Yeah, so see what you can do, get the government representative, and try to get that back, and
Exactly.
if you have all the data that shows that they made a mistake, then boom, that's it, and if we need to see if Joan gets involved, then Joan.
Right, and then we can follow up at next month's meeting. If you need further involvement by my office, then the board can consider it.
Alright, now back to the 457B plan, so what are we thinking, are we okay with that, or if it's gonna, pretty much most fees, not 0%, but most of it's gonna be paid by the employees that are interested versus the township, are we interested in
Yeah.
something to?
There's
pursue?
no reason to
Is there
deny them that opportunity to save money.
You guys have 457?
Wait,
Hey, power at 457.
Yeah.
That's what.
Nothing wrong with giving people the opportunity.
I mean, I like the option. I think it's good for employees if they choose to use it.
Yes, I'll make a motion that we allow our employees and the police force to join a 457B plan.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mr. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Willow. Yes. Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Biller.
I'll vote no, we don't have the resources, we don't have the organization.
Okay, you made your
to really
point, move on.
Oversight.
I'll vote yes.
Thank you, Jim. The second thing on my list is, we received a call for a vehicle that was back this private drive park. After a brief investigation, we found out that it was a hunter who put a tree stand on township owned property back here. The officers came to me asking if hunting is allowed on the township property. So I'm kind of looking for your guidance if you're going to allow hunters to hunt on
The
property.
liability becomes ours. That's the reality.
Listen, I don't think there's an issue with it, but I do think that there needs to be some sort of permit process. You can't just have everybody jumping on the township property to hunt,
If
right?
you-
Like, you come to the township, you get a
Wait,
permit,
that-
we hand out so many based off the size or something like that. I
Are
don't know,
we
just a-
allowed to do that though?
Well, actually, I have I am aware of a permit process because, St. Lawrence, has one for its, land in Exeter Township, that allows some limited hunting
And
with a permit,
I think it's 40 people, cause
Yeah.
I hold one of the permits.
when St.
Yeah, I was
Lawrence,
gonna say,
yeah,
back
yeah.
here, there's
Now,
not
is
that
there
much
some
land.
criteria that they base anything on, or they just came up with?
It's archery only.
Right, like
n-
Amity.
number-wise,
Yeah,
though,
number-wise.
what's the acreage, do you know?
They have quite a bit.
I forget
Because
the actual.
40 people back here would not,
No, no.
we've got to cap that.
But is there any, as far as you know, any state regulations that have, like, you know, so many acres you have?
Well, I'm not aware of any state regulation with the game commission for that. The municipality would be protected by recreational use of land and water act for unimproved land, for activities on unimproved land. Amity from Monocacy Hill has archery hunting only, no guns at all. And and that has been in place for a number of years as well. So it can be done successfully if you want some form of a limited permission and a permit system.
Well, I'd certainly oppose that.
I think we could have too many people wanting.
I'd certainly oppose that as being probably one of the guys that has hunted there the most, and friends continue to hunt there. There's been no problems. You know, there's really been no problems, in my opinion. Now, that brings up kind of a larger point. You know, when I say we don't get things accomplished, things fall off the agenda on this. This goes back to 2023, when we're talking about what's the use of that property. And the use of the property was, we're going to farm it.
Now, hold on.
No, let me finish.
No, because there are a couple things with that. Now, the one reason we get off track is right now we're talking about the hunting thing.
Right, we're talking about this piece of land
And
and
exactly.
the disposition and use of this piece of land.
And I
We're
don't know-
talking exactly this,
Exactly,
Chris.
and I don't know if this was before you started to record everything, but as you recall, we had many meetings where it was either potentially gonna be the wildlife flowers or the farming. We, after each meeting, you would always say, I need more time to think about it.
No,
Yes.
no, I don't need any time to think about it. Farm it,
So,
let it be hunted, there's no time to think about it. You've done nothing.
You want
Nothing,
to farm
because
it.
we didn't.
You've
vote
tried
on
to
it.
give it to your friends, that's exactly what happened to this board. And when Solicitor Hartman started balking on it, I'm talking about a local farmer, said, no, that's not right. Then we made a motion to put it out for bid.
You wanted it.
So,
That was the
now let's
problem.
get back
I
to
want
the
to put out
hunting.
for bid. We had more legal opinions that's going nowhere from two
We
prior
stay on
solicitors.
task.
Now we're on our third solicitor opinion.
So, do we want
Task.
to do the hunting? Do we, okay, now that you brought it up, do you wanna say yes to hunting, at some point do the wildlife thing, or do you wanna do the bids for the farming?
I thought we
Yes
were
to
gonna- I
hunting,
thought we were
no
gonna have
permits
some
needed,
farms.
leave things go like they were, and I think it should be put out for
Oh,
bid.
you mean
Why
so
wouldn't you
your
want
friends
permits
can
at least
hunt,
to-
but we don't
to
give the
regulate
opportunity
that?
to
Who
others.
decides on the permits, it's a
Just
whole
like
other
anything else.
mechanism,
You
Jeff,
know, but what's the,
with
I
which to do
understand,
it.
I understand the mechanism, but
I
what's your
don't mean
reason for
if
saying
you're
you don't
pulling
want
it
permits?
out.
Let anybody go.
But
You want.
what's the reason why?
It's,
Because
they
you
pay
currently
the
have friends
they pay
doing
the
it, or
taxes, they
Because
pay
your
the
friends are
taxes.
currently hunting it, or is that?
Exactly.
Absolutely, whoever
Okay.
wants to hunt there, hunt there.
How about if we
So
put a
they
solar
pay
farm
the
in?
taxes. Where was this,
I
the
think-
complainant, where was he from?
Chris, back on task.
He was from the Township president.
Good.
Well, the thing is, if you look at, to get rid of everything else, from the hunting standpoint, you got the liability as an issue.
Absolutely.
Because if somebody falls, breaks their leg, falls off a tree, they can sue the township, right? Because they can do that in your own
You
property.
just said there's no liability.
There is.
There is,
Not if we
anybody,
don't-
look,
If we don't allow it, if they're just sneaking on the
Mr.
property.
Bitler and I understand anybody can sue anybody for anything, but recreational use of land and water protects the owner of unimproved land who allows,
But with this
individuals.
one, we officially haven't allowed it, this is
That's
just people
the
that are just doing it.
We
So the
haven't
people
allowed
that are
it.
sneaking on and hunting, if they hurt
We're
themselves.
not sneaking anywhere. We've
Oh,
done this
we-
for 100 years, Chris. 100 years
That
it's
is
hunting.
right.
And by the way, I encourage all you, go take a look at that. See all the trash tires that's laid there for years.
And we've-
Go take a look at the way
Just like
this
hunting
board
people.
accepts the title
Oh,
of the
wait a
property.
minute, you accepted it because you've hunted
Yeah.
there for years and not
Yeah,
I
cleaned it up.
didn't dump the tires and they haven't been cleaned up before you even
Yeah.
took title to the
Yeah.
Hey, I
property.
cleaned
What
up
is
my
wrong with
road.
people?
Now, if we talk logically, you still have the prior legal issue, which you can get rid of if you make permission to hunt. If we wanna do that, then we have to figure out how many per acre, da. Right? I mean, that's what you have to do. I don't know who does that and where that comes from.
Game commission.
Chris, when you talk about this piece of property, we have a road crew that mows it
No,
one
that's-
year,
that's-
not,
that's
no, no,
okay.
we're talking about
Stop.
hunting and maintenance.
We're talking about.
There was just a
hunting.
person driving through there yesterday or day before, going to fish, right through the middle of the field. We have a road crew that maintains it one year and not the next year.
We've talked about this stuff before. People are
Stop.
people. You can't, even though they shouldn't trespass, they shouldn't do stuff, they still do it. You have mile per hour 35, they still go 65. You know, you can do all this stuff. So now, what's everybody's thought? Now, Joy says no to hunting, right?
To finish your statement, is there any liability, posted versus not posted versus allowed versus not allowed?
First of all, a trespasser has no rights to be on a property and you don't owe
So
any
anybody
right to
hunting it
care.
right this
But-
moment is trespassing?
Well, if they don't permit, now, if it's considered public land, then they can be there. If it is not considered public land,
Private as it sits? I don't know the answer.
No,
It's public land, and by the way, the island there is not owned, it's owned by the Commonwealth. So there's an island that abuts that's not even part of this discussion, which I hunt regularly and have since 1973.
okay.
You gotta be kidding me.
So are you,
But as
yes,
far-
so
but as
just
far-
in
I'm
general-
trying to get my
yes,
ducks in a
but
row.
as far as liability, the condition of real estate that is owned or controlled by a municipality is outside of the usual rule of immunity. However, there's another statute called Recreational Use of Land and Water Act that when land is unimproved and it is open for recreational activity, including hunting, that there is an exception for liability. Now, if there's a clear, obvious danger, then there is a possibility of liability, anybody can sue, but the township would have a solid
As-
defense to that. Now, if there's a permit process, that doesn't change the immunity. You should have obvious hazards should be cleared out of there, but as far as walking surfaces being uneven, that's a natural hazard of unimproved land. The good part about a permit system, and you know, since you had to sign a release, when you went to St. Lawrence and you talked to Susan or Allison, they had you sign a waiver, you talked to Allison, and you signed a waiver and indemnification that, you would not sue the municipality for, any injuries that you recognize that that unimproved lands hold certain hazards. So that's the good part of a permit system, and if a person is hunting there who doesn't have a permit, then they become a trespasser, and there's no duty of care that is owed to a trespasser. Hunting is an inherently risky activity, and anyone going onto the property assumes that risk.
People come.
So as we sit today, if my neighbor decides to hunt that at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning and fall out of his tree stand, looking at the classification of what we call it now, with no permits or permissions or postings, are we in a good position or a bad position?
I think you're in a good position. I don't think that if somebody falls out of a tree stand, that's an assumption, it's a classic
Correct.
assumption of
I'm
risk.
on, how many incidents have we had back here? Just this one vehicle that someone, has
We
there
usually
more?
have, a couple of every year, and it's usually whose vehicle's parked there, which we don't know.
Alright, not hunting
and-
disputes, domestic fights,
No,
shots fired, just
no,
one,
it's usually a
why is my
vehicle
vehicle?
parked somewhere, we're not sure whose vehicle that belongs to or what they're doing on the property, so then that causes us to open an investigation to figure out who it is, what they were doing, and why they were doing it.
Which you're gonna get, permitted or not.
So it's not.
Well, if
it's
you would,
not-
if you would do a permit, I would probably recommend that the person has to put a vehicle on file, so.
Yep.
we
No, I
know.
mean more for residents calling you and like, what's that? They don't know if they're permitted or not. You're still gonna have to go through those steps.
I mean, there does, so there doesn't seem to be.
Time
I'm
are we
just-
wasting?
Yeah.
No, I'm
There's,
just,
there's not.
are
Now,
we,
we are approaching hunting season, not to say that there's not gonna be issues, that's why I'm bringing it to the board. to
But in the
see
past,
guidance.
has there been hunting issues in the past?
I mean, every once in a while, we'll get a call for a hunting issue.
Nothing.
Nothing major.
I think we're addressing a small item here.
Yeah, exactly, and we're wasting a lot
And
of
I don't
time on
know
it,
if we
you gotta
need
think
to.
about it, but.
My opinion, I don't know if we need to act at this point. It's working the way it's working. You're gonna get a complaint whether they have a permit or not. I think we're causing more work for that much of a problem that's really not even a problem, so I
And
think
understand,
leave it the way it is right
and
now.
understand.
Review again in a year.
And understand that a permit system on a large tract of land is difficult to enforce.
We talk
It's
about,
very
we
difficult
talk
to
about
enforce.
office tasks and admin tasks. We just added how many more with a permit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just, I kind of, my opinion is
Yeah,
leave it.
we can
leave it
table it, we can just sit on it.
So as just so I'm clear, so I tell the officers, as of now, if we get a call down there, we just check them out and they're okay to go hunting and park down there, do whatever
I
they.
mean, as long as they're hunting and they're not,
Are
you
we
know,
actually that protected?
yeah, I don't know.
They have to park, if they're parking by the sewer plant, they have to park so they don't obstruct access. There have been really no problems, other than the deer eating the farm crops. Now, that still begs the question, Chris, as to what's gonna happen, how are we gonna maintain that property? Right now, we have a lawnmower guy that mows a 20-foot strip
Well, let's
next
put
to
that
it up.
on.
Right now, this is what we have.
Well, we'll put it on the agenda next month.
Well, why don't we discuss it right now? We're not gonna
Because
take an action.
don't
on it.
stay
I
on
wanna know,
task.
why are you
It's not-
guys mowing a strip right next to my field so people hop over and trespass on my field?
Stop
We'll put it on the
playing.
meeting.
That's what I wanna know.
Stop playing to the cameras and start dealing with the fact that this is ridiculous. Stay on task, Mr. Bitler. Stay on task, please.
All right, put that on the agenda for next month.
Yeah, we can discuss that. I mean, does anybody have, I mean, what's your thoughts on that property there? On farming it or?
I think we're on,
Let it go for now,
letter
enough.
B here about hunting. I think
Yeah.
we fixed
Let it
that.
go.
Just discuss the whole thing.
I just wanna get everybody's.
Yeah, enough,
No, not even, no.
So our direction is check them, if they're clean, move along.
just move on
That's
for
my-
now, yeah,
That's
I'm with
stating
you on
it.
this.
That's-
I think this just needs to be let go for the moment and
all right, that's-
There's a question out
just
there.
opens more doors.
Has there been any reports of any problems with the property we own on Old 82?
Which property are you referring to?
We own a greater than 5 acre parcel out there, which is near the quarry.
Not that I'm aware of.
Are you not aware of the 5-acre parcel or not aware of any problems?
Not aware of any
Neither.
problems there.
There has been litter and other issues out there, Mr. Steve, to your knowledge, or no?
No, I stopped it out.
Okay, so
Let her
it's
see,
moot point.
let her see.
Alright, next, board, you received an email from me that we received several quotes, for the building maintenance. Now I was reached out to again, and I will have another one coming. They said give us about another week or two. As of now, do you have any questions regarding what you received?
No, I don't. You'll send us the other ones.
Yeah, as soon as I get the other one, I was hoping to have it by now. He contacted us 2 days ago, and unfortunately, he can't get it to us till another week. The next is.
Oh, I got a question, Harold.
Regarding the maintenance contracts, the contract for the old maintenance used to require them to do this for a couple times a year. And I can tell you, it's not been done in 2 years.
Right.
We always had to tell them to do that. Does anybody still, is that still in the contract? And if it's not, maybe you wanna think about putting it in the next.
I've personally never seen the contract for it.
We'll look into the contract when we put that on the next agenda and see. I think we're talking about two different things. What we're talking about is the outside of the building here.
Oh, the outside.
We're not
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, we're not talking about the actual building maintenance
We're
inside
not
of it.
talking about that part of it.
No.
Well, you said, it says building maintenance.
Alright, board, the next thing I have, today I received a 2-week notice from one of the officers who plans on leaving.
Do you have a list of people you've actually considered at this point that you have on
We
file?
have not. It's gonna be the guidance from the board if you would like to try to replace him. Be totally up to you. We can post it.
You're dealing with Halloween, you're dealing with more, more things that are gonna be coming. I don't think you have a choice but to hire.
This makes you short too.
Yeah,
This makes us-
exactly.
This makes us short new people, yes.
Okay, you can't afford that. So I think we've got to allow you to
Advertise.
advertise and get a pool together, so when something happens, you've got a pool of people to pull from.
Are you looking to?
How's the overtime with being down one right now?
It's harder, you got more,
Yeah,
you got more
We're getting
overtime.
hit on it, and now the employee who put in his 2 weeks' notice also put in his remaining time, so he will be coming in to clean out his desk, and that's probably about it.
So he's using vacation or other
Vacation,
available
personal
time.
time, comp time.
So the overtime is definitely up since Chief Castle
Well-
left. At this
Overtime
point,
is definitely up since.
It's
as it should be.
Yes.
It's gonna go up more, but I think you need to look for 2 people.
Make a motion to advertise for 2.
I make a motion to advertise for 2.
Who did you vote for?
2, please.
So Joy was made the motion, have a second?
I'll say
Roll call, Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Gallow.
yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Vote yes.
I'll vote yes.
Thank you, Bart.
No problem.
The last thing I have is then, if I could request a motion to approve Officer Schlotman to attend public information and all hazard incidents in Manheim, December 17th and 18th. The cost is free of charge. It'll help him, move forward to being a PIO officer, public information officer.
I make that motion to allow Officer Schlotman to attend the public information in all hazards incident on Manheim on December 17th and 18th. Free, happy day.
I'll second motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Gallow.
Yes.
Hold on, there's a question.
The cost, the
I
cost
made
is
the
great.
motion.
Do we have to pay him overtime to go?
Well, that sounds like a
We're gonna
lot.
pay overtime to go.
Why is he gonna get overtime? He's gonna go. We're already in overtime, Harold. We already established that they're already short 2 people. But by the 17th and 18th of that month, I would think he'd be able to fill positions if he has the opportunity.
We're gonna try to adjust the schedule so it does not cause any overtime.
Right.
yes.
Mr.
Common
Rhodes.
sense prevails.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Vote yes.
And I vote yes.
And that's all I have, Board.
Before we move on,
Thank you.
before we move on, Chris, you were not able to be at last workshop, last month's meeting. And this board reversed its position on a request for proposals for chief of police. I was wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Is this on the meeting?
I'd
This isn't
also,
on there,
I'd
Chris.
also like to ask if you were contacted directly or indirectly, email or otherwise, with respect to that vote. On the agenda, it said a discussion on a request, and that turned into,
Well, on Thursday?
no,
No.
the prior meeting. If you look the minutes are not overly clear, but I'm asking you, if you were contacted directly or indirectly, anyone from this township on that vote, on that issue,
Why do we need to confer and have permission if you ask me
What is,
something?
I mean,
the issue was, there was a motion on this board to get a request for proposal, and we had on the agenda to have a discussion on it, and all of a sudden, that turned into a motion to appoint him as an acting chief. I'm asking you what you knew about that.
Why would he know if he wasn't here?
Joy, I'm talking to our chairman.
But that's not
Would
on
you,
the
would you
agenda.
please not interrupt?
Would you
So you were
please
not
state
at a
the
prior
agenda?
meeting,
oh, at the August meeting.
Right.
August, yeah, I was on the.
and on that meeting, we had previously a motion on the board to get it. You talk about why things are wasteful, folks. We have a manager, we have a former chief of police sitting down to do all this. That's not a personal disparagement of this man. It's I wanna know what the chairman of the board had to do with this.
If he wasn't
Oh, Joy,
here,
let me.
Joy, you can't keep your mouth shut at
Let
all.
me hear his question, I'm not sure what he's
Jeez.
trying to ask here, so.
I know, it doesn't make sense.
So,
What I'm asking, Chris, is you missed August meeting. At that meeting, there was an agenda item and a motion brought up, even though it didn't say there's gonna be a motion, it said we're gonna have a discussion. I thought we were gonna discuss what we all agreed on. So I'm asking you again, what did you know and when did you know it?
I did not know anything ahead of. the-
Are you in favor of not getting a proposal from anybody?
Well,
I don't believe he's properly being vetted. I've got about 100 questions. It was nice enough for him to give me, after weeks delay, the full police manual. After a comment from our manager, after we revise it, then I'll give you a copy. Now, I've got it, and I'm reading it every night.
Chris, why are we on this when it's not on the agenda?
I'm asking a question of our chairman.
No,
So
you
your
just
question
can't
was, was
abuse
I
it.
aware of anything before the meeting? The answer is no.
And how do you feel about not doing the request proposal? You were part of that,
think we
was,
should do
but if I stand
No,
corrected, if
because you questioned me on my comment about hire
oh,
from
Matt,
within,
you've
you
made
remember
it,
that?
you made it clear, Jeff. Yes,
Remember that?
absolutely. You were not in favor of fully.
I was not, so tell the truth.
Oh,
You're
I
saying it-
forgot. That was an oversight.
You're saying
Why
it was
you would never
unanimous
vote like
decision.
that is beyond me, but
You
you
said,
did.
you said it was unanimous decision,
Oh,
I said no, you were
I
not telling the
stand
truth.
corrected. I stand corrected.
You wanna
Thank you,
stand up
Mr.
there for
Rhodes.
YouTube, so you wanna say, oh, it was unanimous, no, it
No,
wasn't
no.
unanimous.
Now I remember. You
Now
wanted,
you remember.
yeah, absolutely.
I had to
apo-
jog your
I
memory for you,
apologize
buddy.
for that.
Yeah.
Now my question again is, why are we not doing this? That's my question to
Did I-
you, Chairman.
Didn't I make a motion? I did, that we
You
were
did.
gonna ride as,
So
Status
is
quo.
this motion,
Yes.
is the request for proposal now off the table?
No.
Are we not doing it?
I believe that the decision, and it could have been a motion, I have to look back, was we're not going to do it at the moment.
Okay, and then my question to the board is, when are we gonna do it? What are we gonna do?
That's not on the agenda, is
No,
it,
it's
Chris?
not a question. No, that's me. I don't really want to do that by the end of the year.
Exactly, so why are you abusing everybody and
Another
disrespecting every
thing that goes
employee?
undiscussed, another thing that falls off the radar, again and again.
Our drama
No,
king.
it's not really, because eventually you gotta make a decision. So it's not a.
Well, the decision becomes this then, Chris. Well, he's done a great job. And so far, I think you've done okay,
Well,
so
not the
far.
way you ripped
I mean,
it,
a
you
little
would know.
slow with getting me some stuff. I don't understand, but it seems like that was interrupted. I have no idea why our solicitor would be commenting on that. None.
All right, anything else?
Duct tape.
No, or, that's it, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Rich.
Okay, in your packets are the monthly expenses, treasury report, and sewer agent report. Would like to make a note, the sewer agent report, that is not going to the RTMA yet, however, there are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at the top of our list that have all approached the threshold of 500, which is our conditions for a lien to be placed on those properties. And they have been sent to you, or should have been sent to you last week, so I'll confirm with you. I did not have an opportunity to do that with the
And,
young lady that does
and
it.
liens will be filed on those if they haven't been already.
All right, anyone like to make a motion to accept the monthly expenses? Oh, Daryl's question.
In regards to the ADU report, I've not seen it naturally, but the person who was omitted from that list for several months, whose property was just sold at foreclosure sale, was that all caught up before that foreclosure?
My understanding is that went to our solicitor, but I'll confirm that for you before the RTMA.
Because, I mean, it's inevitable, it's gonna change hands, and we're gonna lose money if we don't have a clean spot.
How many sewer accounts right now, Richard, are being, have been given some kind of payment schedule by you or any previous manager?
You don't do that, do you?
The only one that was a payment schedule was the one that was.
That
was
he's
some
referring
kind of-
to.
The one that was omitted, or erroneously error, whatever you wanna call it, but he was not caught up on the list of bill, and therefore he didn't pay.
He never
When it
had,
was
never
found,
received a bill.
They billed it.
He's been actually he has been paying $600 and some every 3 months to bring that up to date, so he's about, I think he's one billing cycle away.
And I
Hey, that's positive.
Quarterly.
think he's
He's
the
right.
third manager that went through that.
Yeah, but at least he's trying.
No, I'm not saying anything negative about it, I'm just saying,
All right, anyone like to make a motion to accept
Accept.
the reports in our
Sure.
possession?
Accept the reports that are in our possession. They exist.
Do we have a second? I'll second, roll call, Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr.
Oh,
Bittler.
no.
Oh, yes.
I went back real quick to clarify something. I just dug out the minutes from August. Supervisor Bittler made a motion to commence the RFP process for the chief of police position. There was no second, it died right there. So that would be why we didn't move any further from that point.
What was the motions before that?
Before that was, is all under manager's comments. There was resolution 2418.
What were the other motions, Scott, relating to the chief of police?
So if you go to that line, it was, you made a motion to commence RFP for chief of police position. No seconds, motion died. Following motion, I made to promote Sergeant Lee to acting chief, which passed without your vote. And then below that, it went into advertising positions for admin and public works. But I was just clarifying that the attempt was made to do it and the motion died. That's why nothing occurred after that.
That was just informative.
No way.
Yeah.
All right, Rich,
Look at
number,
Okay, manager's comments. All right, so personnel evaluations, this is my understanding, the first, that we've completed our personnel evaluations. I've completed for the crew leader and the admin section. I'm still setting up review dates. There's two for the public works crew that I'm still working through, and that's based on the fact that these guys have been out on a lot of road projects. We've been far extended beyond what we thought we were originally gonna be, so I'm gonna be working with Barry on that to get those two wrapped up. And again, they're part of the union contract, so it's fairly simple, but again, we wanna move in the right direction. So we've done very well with that. Again, I'll let you know when we set up review dates.
I don't think it was very well. My opinion is, we do not have the proper people, or nobody from these boards sitting on, I certainly would sit on. So I disagree totally with that.
Oh, you disagree with everything.
all right, so, all right, public works interviews.
I think it's good that they're done,
So
we
we have-
can't stop getting our work done.
We've
When
completed,
will we do the manager's review? Let's ask that of the board.
How about if we review you?
Well, when will we do the manager's review?
How about when everybody's done with budget, trying to get work projects done for the map, you know, the roads and things like that?
We should.
Things that are the communities.
You wanna put it
As I say, why don't we put it on, so we
on
don't
the
forget?
calendar? We can discuss, this board was discussing the manager's qualifications. This board was discussing all the ordinances relating that. The manager position just didn't happen. It happens by ordinance. And it's governed by ordinances. It just doesn't appear.
Agreed.
So, do we wanna come up with dates, just like we need to come up with,
We need to get with budget dates too.
yeah, we can come up with dates.
Yeah, that's.
We had budgets, dates, and there were no shows. How do you cancel a budget meeting and an hour later cancel the rest of the meeting?
Life happens.
Well,
Yeah.
life might happen, but not 10 minutes before. That is rude to the people of Robeson Township. To post something we get an email from our
All
website.
right, Rich, we're going to public interviews with public works interviews.
yes, sir, public works interviews were completed. We had 3 interviews. We did actually post the dates and times for everybody. I believe everybody received those, along with the resumes as we scheduled those interviews. We've made what we believe are 2 good selections. We'd like to talk about those in executive. And if you approve of those, when we come out of executive, we can make motions for both of those. They would be resolutions 2024-22 and 23 in order. So again, we can wait till,
Do these fellows have CDLs?
yes, they do, sir, both,
What classifications?
1B and 1A.
A was the one that was missing before, and is still missing absent and hire.
Yeah.
We have no A's if we don't hire this guy.
Correct.
Correct, we had
We
one,
had-
sir. Correct.
Do we have anybody on the road crew working towards an A? How hard is an A to get?
Not difficult.
It's not difficult, it's just the cost.
Fine, and the cost.
Talk to me after, a lot of things change with that.
Oh, did they?
Required schooling is no longer
Oh, really? Oh, well then,
permit, 30 days or whatever it is now, and the test.
but to answer your question, the gentleman that had previously left, he had a Class A. The 3, actually, there was only 1 that applied that had a Class A. And that is one that we are going to discuss, and the other one has a Class B.
That's good stuff, we'll be with you later.
We did that in executive. All right, Rich.
Okay, E is the Robeson Code Project, organizational analysis, proposed table of contents. I submitted everything to you via email as well. There's also a copy here in your packet. If there's anything that you'd like me to comment on or that you see that we need to add, please have those to me by 22 October. Our deadline to have it back to them is the 24th of October for their further action at that point in time. For F, pick up the township files, again, mid to late October. This is really based on the road work that's being completed right now. So once that is completed, then I'll be able to work with Barry, and we'll figure out a time. And I know I've spoken to you regarding.
Have you spoken directly with?
I have not yet, no.
Okay, I'll
Touch base with them again, okay. But that's Hartman's firm, and we'll make sure that we have a coordinated date and time. We're trying to consolidate this because we know there's files in storage elsewhere, and it could be a pretty substantial amount. We want to be able to bring this back. And I believe we now have the state storage up in the mezzanine up above that we can put those there.
Yeah, everybody worked their butt off to get cleared up.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, the next piece I have here on the schedule is the pay scheduling discussion. What we're working towards, this is actually a great comment somebody had shared with us. The police went to PACE, I believe, about this time last year. They've been on the PACE system about a year right now. We have not tried an ADP transfer. The reason we didn't do that is because we had some additional, those that accepted payment in lieu of insurance, there's that stipend in lieu of insurance, that was actually in the last pay cycle. So we didn't want to mix that in there with that because that could be a challenge. So we're going to use a PACE to ADP transfer in the upcoming pay cycle for our police. At the same time, we built everyone into the system, which includes our admin and our public works staff, into the PACE system so that we can start working with that. That'll include their time off. We can get rid of the time off cards and everything else that we use. So in the long run, I expect to have the entire staff, that includes our police, and our admin and public works teams. They will be on this, and we'll be working strictly off of PACE by the end of this fiscal year.
Now,
That's good.
that gets rid of the punch clock and the whole nine.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. We're gonna work probably the punch clock, at least for the administrative and the public works staff, through the end of the year, just to make sure we have a check and balance on the system, make sure that it's working the way it should, we have a backup. But I believe we're gonna find that it's very easy to work with. I spent some time with our acting chief and worked through the PACE system. It's really easy to work with. There's a couple of little things I still need to figure out, but again, it's very, very easy. And I suspect this is gonna make things a lot easier for everybody across the board.
Oh, it'd be a lot cleaner.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I appreciate all the input on that, and that's helped us out a lot. For H, billing for stormwater management, Quaker Ridge Phase 5. So that's now been executed. What we're going to do at the beginning of the year, this was based on the actual input by Mr. Eshelman when he paid into essentially an escrow account, which we've moved to actually an interest-bearing account, which should help in the long run. We may be eventually able to reduce costs for those that are living in Quaker Ridge Phase 5 development, but right now it's $319 per annum. That was based on that initial input in 2023. So those billings will go out at the beginning of the year. And then the MMO and 2024 and 25 comparison. Mr. Steve, you had a question at the last meeting. I wanted to, or a comment with regard to that. I just wanted to bring it to here so that we could actually have a quick conversation. You had mentioned the differences between 2023's resolution and 2024's resolution. As you know, 2023's resolution is for the MMO payments in 2024. This year's was for 2025. So in 2023, the uniform defined pension plan was just under $100,000. This year it is $152,000, and that is due to the hiring of a number of officers in the 2023 timeframe. Again, that's based also when they started, so that number fluctuates somewhat. The non-uniform defined pension plan program was around $100,000 for 2023 for the 24 year. That dropped to $64,400. And that's because we had retirements from our public works crew. That would have been, I believe, Butch drawing his retirement out of that.
That's for 2 employees.
That may have been 2. And so right now it's 2 employees who are left in that I know of. Ms. McCune and Mr. Henry are in there. Yeah.
$30,000, $32,000 a piece in their pensions.
Yeah, pretty substantial. And the final one is the non-uniform defined contribution plan. That was $12,000, just over $12,000 last year. This year it's just over 15. That includes my hiring is in there, and what will happen is in next year's you will see an increase again for Ms. Cullen as she enters the full-time workforce. And let me make sure I missed anything in there. Okay, so next request for proposal, vendor proposal. I put the email in here, I know I sent an email to the board. These were more for the budget meeting, but I wanted to keep it fresh in your minds. I know we're gonna have that conversation in just a moment. The ones that I so far have for that should be in your packet here. Let me just double check. Right now I have them for the solicitor, security, engineer codes, SEO, auditor, and IT. We just have some general ones prepared for us. If you'd like me to, I can send those via email for your review before our next budget.
Meaning you haven't sent them.
I have not sent them, no, sir. Haven't been directed to do so.
So any correspondence, any email, why wouldn't we see those? Why would we have those at the last budget meeting?
That's when we asked to work on them, sir, the last budget.
Well, we received them, I saw Technicons in here,
Well,
They sent that themselves.
yeah.
They sent that themselves, sir. That wasn't-
without solicitation.
Yeah.
That's correct, sir.
All right, well, yeah,
That was
I'd like to
just
see, can I take a copy of those up tomorrow, that'd be all right?
Sure, I can make copies for you. I can make copies.
Thank you.
I was gonna say,
There, again, these are draft copies that were, based on your request.
who prints them out? Brittany would?
I don't know, is there anybody else that we need, do we need anybody else? This is pretty- Okay.
Okay, for K, annual volunteer fire relief monies that came in. I actually have the checks available with me here this evening. So we'll get those signed and presented to both fire companies. Then for L, this was something that originally had been on Chief Castle's list. We haven't done this in a little while, but we want to make sure it gets on here. In the future, we're going to make sure this one's in actually September's meeting. And by the way, just so that everybody's aware, what we've actually started to do now is we are building agendas for the next year. So when we have things such as the MMO or Trick or Treat Night, those are already pre-built in. Whoever does them year to year already knows to address those matters in those particular months. That way, we're not working behind the curve.
Proactive, good
Yes, ma'am.
idea.
So for this one, I'm going to request a motion this evening to designate Trick or Treat Night as October 31st, 2024, between the hours of 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. in Robeson Township. We will then, if so approved, we will post that. I also understand that the fire department is going to have a trunk or treat night, and
Yeah, same time window, 6 to 9.
Okay.
Invited PD, as well as our EMS agencies and neighboring fire departments. We're
Mhm.
kind of
Public Works as well.
Public Works.
excellent.
I make that motion, that way we can move forward. Designate trick or treat night as October 31st, 2024, between the hours of 6 p.m. and 9 p.m.
I'll second that.
We'll call Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
No, but yes.
Thank you, Board. All right, for the next two pieces of discussion of M&N, these are in your packets for conversation. One thing you'll note in the draft 2025 calendar is I have actually included January of 2026 in there. The reason for that is that that date is set by law for the reorganization meeting for the Board of Supervisors. It's very easy to post that, and then you have a year to work on. And if you need to have any changes or you want to, in January 26th, you can then make changes to your meeting schedule at that point in time. So this is just a good business practice I picked up from the training I went to back in January. They always publish the following year's reorganization meetings in this year. Right, and then with that, one of the discussions that came up in the office, I appreciate Ms. Cullen and I had a great conversation. We talked about our budgeting workshops. We thought perhaps making a recommendation here at this meeting, if you want to, that we standardize at least somewhat the workshop, not the workshop, but the budget meetings for September, October, November prior to the workshop. That would prevent an additional expense in making an advertisement later on down the line. So I appreciate that input and from her end. So again, just your thoughts. If you'd like me to, I'll add that into the calendar, and then it'll be set for September, October, November of next year. Okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
All right, the final piece I have for you under the manager's comments is discussion on budget meeting dates, and then a request of motion from you to advertise when you select the date.
Have any days you can't do?
Well, full Friday now, I was trying to put stuff.
Except for Monday of next week, I think I can do any day next week except Fridays, I guess. Supervisor Bittler, do you have any days you cannot do?
Are we talking next week?
Well, yeah, well, there's a possibility, if it's snow, it's snow.
I'll try and accommodate whatever you fellas.
They can give you the following week, and the last week of October. Cause there's no township meetings the last week, right?
The only one that we have currently this week is, or next week, excuse me, would be Monday the
Monday.
21st is the
Monday.
RTMA. There's zoning hearing board, but that won't, there's been no action for that, so that will not happen. That's only as needed, so you have really any day next week, or the week.
Well, you won't wanna do Halloween since there's no
Correct.
activity.
Tuesday, Wednesday, next
Tuesday,
week.
I'm sorry, we're looking next week.
No, Bittler can't go next week, we wanna do it last week, like October 30th, a Wednesday,
I can't do Wednesday, I can do the 29th, Tuesday.
Roy?
I'm gonna look around whatever we can do.
Yeah, 29.
Okay, 29th, that we want to do 6:30, since it might be just to make sure to give us some more time.
You said 6 or 7.
That'll work.
6:30.
Alright, just
That gives everybody breathing,
Please, happy.
6:30, the 29th.
so whatever works for everybody
So
else.
I would like to make a motion to advertise the next budget meeting for October 29th at 6:30.
I'll second.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes, please.
Mr. Bell. Yes. Mr. Rose,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Thank you very much. All right, next section's meeting, or minutes, expenses, and reports.
There's no fire companies here, I'd say yes. No, but now minutes.
Yes, minutes, expenses, and reports. Those are in your packet. We do not have the EMA sort of report, which I suspect will come in with the RTMA. And then looking for a report for Parks and Recreation, but everything is present for you otherwise.
Anyone we can make a motion to approve the minutes, expenses, and reports in our discussion.
I will make that motion.
I'll second. Roll call, Mrs. Joy. Mr. Billo.
Yes.
Mr. Rose.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
No.
Oh, yes. Ryan, I'm here.
Your time on there, you wait.
Good evening, board. I had sent my report out last week. The first action item I have is an NPC time extension for Cedar Hill Estates. That request was received, and they are requesting a time extension to December 18 of this year, 2022. That was recommended for approval by your planning commission.
Didn't we ask them to come in here?
I don't believe that that was requested last time. They have been in here before, and I certainly would have no objection to inviting them back again. This has certain trouble.
This is the one I was saying about this is enough.
Yep.
So how about if you update them for our next meeting and say, why don't you come here and explain to us why this is dragging on?
I would be very happy.
I'm the evil person who said, this stuff needs to stop just being approved.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'm with you, Ryan.
How do you wanna handle this request? Do we wanna go 30 days to have them back again? Do you wanna go to December 18? I think it's 60 days. That's up to you.
Oh, no, make them come every 30, just because they don't wanna comply.
So you're gonna go 30-day extension to 30-day extension is what you wanna do?
Yeah, and if they're not making enough progress, that's on them. And we hold them accountable. Break your heart, Ryan?
No, look, this has been sitting on the books as long as I can
Wait,
remember, so.
But that's what I said to you.
Yep.
There were a lot of them when I was on the board in the city.
You wanna make a motion, Joy?
Yes, please.
What's your motion, Joy?
My motion is to require that Cedar Hill Estates, for their MPPC time extension, has to come to us every 30 days to update us on what's happening. Or face consequences.
So 30 days from now, is that gonna,
I was gonna say, I think that falls before the next meeting.
Yeah.
I think to.
Well,
usually
I'm
the
talking
extension
meeting to
is-
meeting.
What the
Please.
extension usually is, if you're gonna do an extension, is the day after the next meeting. So make it to a date certain, yeah, make it to a date certain.
So that would be the 20th, 11/20?
Yes. extension to the 20th of November, but they must requesting their presence.
I'm just requesting their presence at the next meeting.
Well, the next,
Well-
next
Meeting
meeting,
the day
the next
before.
workshop, meeting.
Right, I would guess that the way to word that motion would be an extension, motion granting, or approving an extension until the day after the next Township Supervisors meeting, with directing the township engineer to, strongly encourage them to attend the next meeting.
The workshop meeting.
Yeah,
Is that your motion, Joy?
Yes, please. Until I reiterate what Joan said. At least we can go back and check and listen to
Do I
it.
have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Joy,
Yes, please.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
Yes.
oh, yes.
Okay. 2024 street work. There was a meeting with the contractor held today, a pre-paving meeting. That work was originally scheduled for this week, to begin on the 14th. We had scheduled this meeting and understood that they would be moving in. However, we have been pushed now to October 28th for a start date. That's due to, as I understand it, an issue with materials on another job. So it's delayed them moving. As the board is likely aware, because I brought this up before, once we pass October 31, we are beyond PennDOT's paving deadline for Berks County. Knowing that this was going to be a conflict, I have reached out to our municipal services rep. There is a process in place to handle this very thing, and we are exploring that as we speak.
That was the email they responded to, correct?
Correct,
That's correct.
correct.
That seemed to be addressing the issue and our concern of
It is.
losing out, so to speak.
Correct. And nobody is to say that the weather changes November 1, right? There are paving requirements that the contractor is subject to, even if it were to be cold tomorrow. It doesn't change any of that. What it does is set forth a monitoring requirement that the contractor must abide by and a form that they fill out to provide to PennDOT. So it's my understanding that we will likely go into that timeframe. PennDOT is willing to approve that through their prescribed process. So we are still okay to go beyond that deadline. We will receive that in writing from municipal services before they mobilize to come here. That's where we currently stand. Any questions that I can answer for you, I will gladly do so, or get the answers if I don't have them. But in my conversation this afternoon after our meeting with our municipal services rep, this did not concern him one bit, and they were aware of the issue that put the contractor in this situation.
Good enough.
Okay. So again, update only. Rock Hollow Bridge, another update. We did receive, and I circulated the DEP permit for the general permit to allow us to install the bridge and obstruct the waterway. So all of our places are in place, or all of our pieces are in place to begin putting that contract together and get integrated. Okay. As soon as that's ready to bid, I will seek dates from the board. 2024 MS4 report was filed with DEP. Just an information, I did circulate some information on that as well. Chestnut Hill Properties was before your planning commission for 2 waiver requests. The first of which was to allow the plan to be considered as preliminary and final together. After some discussion and given some lack of progress on behalf of the applicant, the Planning Commission has not recommended that waiver to you. The second waiver request was to allow the proposed road accessing this development to remain private. Built to a public standard, however, the road would be owned and maintained by a private homeowners association, trust, whatever ends up being set up to govern this development. The Planning Commission felt it appropriate to recommend that waiver to you because they felt that that was an aspect of the design that needed to be addressed so that the developer could move forward. Those were the 2
Are
requests.
they gonna, this homeowners association gonna plow it as well?
Correct.
They're gonna be
Okay.
solely responsible.
So this is on Chestnut Hill Road, which is actually plowed by the state. So because of that, it's at the far end of our township, essentially, we'd be at the mercy of the state whether or not it gets plowed to get through to that road. So the recommendation had been that they would maintain that as a private road.
There will likely be an overriding agreement for all of what is now 7 lots for the ownership and maintenance of the public roads, the storm sewer facilities. There's a public or a private fire service system that's being proposed and is being vetted by the planning commission. All of those will remain private in nature. The township will have the right to access, the right to require maintenance, but the cost of that is borne by the homeowners or property owners in this situation.
So we're outside of it, we don't have to deal with it.
Correct.
Not another expense.
So you would like to make a motion, us to make a motion for that later?
Do you want the private roads?
Correct, yes, that was what was recommended by the planning.
Right, and you'd also have to have a motion to, if you wish to deny the preliminary/final plan waiver.
So the preliminary/final request was from section 403 of your saldo. Section 507M pertaining to streets was the waiver that was recommended to keep those private in nature.
So how do you want us to do this one, okay?
Two separate motions.
Right. Okay. But he's
Maybe Scott
referencing
should
sections.
say it so he writes it down right.
Yeah.
I'll write when somebody speaks.
Yeah, okay.
So the first one, they are not.
Okay.
Motion to deny.
I'm making the motion to deny chapter 22, section 403, submission of a preliminary plan, and they also wanted it to be the final. We are requesting the waiver of requirement to prepare a separate preliminary and final subdivision plan and propose and submit as a preliminary final subdivision plan, which we deny.
Right,
Correct.
motion to deny.
Motion to deny.
I'll second motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Choi,
Yes?
Mr. Gallow.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Okay. The second one. Making a motion to approve chapter 22, section 507M, streets. Private streets are prohibited except that approval upon the Board of Supervisors and within their sole discretion. Certain private streets may be recognized by the township for approval of a waiver. We are requesting that a waiver to permit the proposed Stall Spruce Road as a private street. This reflects the Township Planning Commission's desire to not have this road be dedicated.
Motion to approve the waiver.
I said that right. Okay.
You made a motion to,
I made the motion to approve that in the beginning instead of at the end.
I'll second, roll call, Mrs. Choi,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
Thank you. There are planning commission minutes from August in your packet. That's just for information only. And I do believe we have somebody here this evening to represent the Charles Glass subdivisions.
Yes, good evening, John Hoffert, representing the Charles Glass subdivision. We attended the last planning commission meeting, whereas they recommended a conditional final plan approval, subject to the Kraft Municipal Group review letter dated July 18th. The reason for the time period between the review letter and this evening was, if you recall, I did come before the Board of Supervisors and requested that that one lot that we created in this subdivision exceed the 1 to 2 acre requirement for those residential lots within the AP zoning district. I do have copies of the subdivision plan, should you wish to look at them. But again, your planning commission made a unanimous recommendation to grant conditional approval, again, based on the Kraft July 18 review letter.
The remaining conditions, and that letter unfortunately was not in my report to you this month, it was in previously. The remaining conditions in that letter were DEP approval of the sanitary steel, not sewage disposal systems. That is currently under review by the SEO and also awaiting DEP approval for an environmental clearance.
Yes, apparently Wayne ran into a potential bog turtle habitat issue. So my recommendation is turtle soup. And we also have a mulberry wing issue. Mulberry wing is a moth. Apparently it's a potential threatened or endangered species according to a DCNR. And we had an environmentalist walking around looking at the trees to see if in fact they are habited in this particular area. Other than that, those are my only,
Are you finding more critters, John?
these are unbelievable.
So that's a clearance,
Do you recommend mothballs?
Yes.
that's
Hopefully
a
that
clearance
will
that
work.
will be required before the sewage permits are issued for the project.
So we could,
The other item I just wanna mention was the structural analysis of the existing bridge, because if you recall, one of the properties was gonna utilize that for further access. I actually received that, late last week, from Mr. Whitman. So that analysis has been performed and approved by a licensed
That's the one you
engineer.
sent us, correct?
Anyone like to make a motion to approve the conditional based on, the conditional as per the July 18th, 2024?
I'll make that motion. We approve, what is it?
That's why I let him do it.
Conditional.
Conditionally approved the Charles Glass Center.
There you go.
Right,
I'll make a
sub-
motion, we conditionally approve the Charles Grass subdivision.
I'll second.
If it meets all the.
Subject to.
Well, that's why it was
Yeah,
subject to the
subject
conditions.
comments in the July 18th Craft Municipal
There you go.
Group.
Subject to the comments in the draft municipal group letter from dated
July 18th. Yeah.
All right, do I have a second?
Yes.
Roll call, Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Bittler.
Yes.
Thank you all very much, and have a nice evening.
Hey, we only got you an hour and 15 minutes.
That's moths.
Hey, you're getting tan enough, John.
Anything else, Ryan?
That's all I have unless the board has questions of me that, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions from Ryan? No. Mr. Lundey.
Okay, I've taken items A and B together, we have in our packets, Quaker Ridge Phase 5 deed of dedication, and that is to accept dedication of Bighorn Way and Kodiak Pass, which are two streets in the Quaker Ridge subdivision.
That's all in order, correct?
Kodiak.
It is all in order,
Okay,
yes.
I'll make the motion, that resolution 20-24.
22.
22.
Right.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Yes.
Next item was re-advertised for adoption this evening, and that is the solicitation ordinance that provides for a permit for solicitation in the township, together with a license application and background check for the protection of citizens from door-to-door solicitation practices.
And if the board so approves, that will be solicitation ordinance 2024-04, which is the next one.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that this board approve solicitation on its 2024-24.
Zero. That's-
I second that.
Okay, roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And the final item had been discussed in executive session, but was not on the agenda for the last meeting, and that is the appointment of conflicts counsel for negotiation between the township and RTMA. I recommend that you appoint Jason Hess from Morgan, Crosswell, Halpern, Kane, and Lancaster at a rate of $225 an hour.
And the purpose of that is because having someone who already represents things in Berks County can create the conflict, which is why we're going outside the county to have this additional attorney, correct?
That is my recommendation, just like we have an out-of-county attorney from Hamburg, Rudin, Mullen, and Maxwell for the RTMA.
Right.
From Montgomery County, I recommend going to another county to avoid any possible conflicts.
I just wanted to clarify that, so.
My colleague,
So I
Ms.
make that
Breitenstein,
motion.
is disingenuous with that. The reason we're in this mess is because our solicitor has a conflict. She's a solicitor for both the authority and this. Not only did we have to raise the fee schedule, we're in a never-ending conflict position.
So
That's
Joe-
because
so-
we have one of us
so
who
Joe,
votes
did you make a motion?
Yes, I
first?
made the motion,
So I'm
but
a
he
no
doesn't
vote,
keep
Mr.
quiet.
Chairman.
Well, we have a
We already
second.
know that.
We have a
I'll
second.
second the motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
I'll vote no.
I vote yes.
I'd like to be appointed to be on that, committee, the liaison with that gentleman though.
I don't think that's a very wise choice, because you're already abusing
Excuse me?
people you don't want. I don't
Excuse
think that's a wise
The
choice.
importance, folks,
Jeff?
is this is a potential 35-year plus lease. This board, our sewer authority, has the distinction of doing things 2 years late and over budget. Welcome to government.
And you're part of
This
the reason.
expired 2 years ago, here's the lease,
Anything else, Joe?
35-year, 50, and then maybe you want a 50-year lease?
Oh, stop playing.
I'd like to be appointed to liaison with this
Well, we
gentleman.
haven't, we wanna put that agenda for, because we haven't, that's not an agenda to appoint anybody yet.
No.
So put that in
I'd
the.
like to add that to the work for next meeting. Sure.
Anything else, Mr. Amended?
Now, unless the board has any questions, go ahead.
You want to volunteer?
All right, Baron.
Good evening, board. Brian and I had a meeting, last week before, just a brief oversight of the 2025 street work projects. We gathered this information from a, grading process that was done, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 years ago?
Yes, and last updated last year.
So that's where we basically compiled the list from for the 2025 street work project. We're a little bit behind schedule on our end, which is working out good because Agent K is also behind. We are currently on Proudfoot Drive, milling and paving. Plan to be alpha there Thursday, maybe Friday. And then that will pretty much conclude our paving season.
Just not to interrupt you, what I'm passing down, I had fully intended to distribute at the workshop meeting.
That's why I was passing them.
It's informational only, these are roads and estimates we're putting together for both next year's oil and chip work and paving, so.
Well, it's one each, I'm sorry, that's that. One each.
Oh, right.
It's one each, send it back.
Oh,
One each?
One each.
One each.
That was the first round.
That's why I said I started pulling them apart, because nobody counted them.
Here's your other round, and two more down there.
So what is this for, Brian?
So these are numbers that Barry and I have been looking at for next year's 2025 street work, okay? Contract one would be a paving contract. Contract two would be a maintenance contract. Contract one will likely, this is all work in the Moyer Road area. That's where we're gonna intend to focus next year. There's some roads here, if you'll recognize France has been pushed from a couple previous years. I anticipate the paving contract will probably be similar to what you see here. Contract two would be the oil and chip contract, that's the multi-page item. And that is really a bunch of streets that we've broken into sections that we will try to back into a budget once we've gotten that far. So again, this is informational only, this is where we're at right now. And full disclosure, I think we intended to look at these again today, and we ran out of time since we were meeting with the contractor. We'll revisit it.
Thank you.
Much longer than this.
Anything else, Barry?
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Rich?
Okay, nothing for park and recreation at this time, so we'll turn right to the EAC. So in your packets, you'll have the September meeting minutes as approved on 10/3/24. Also, I want to talk about the plant distribution. This was a great piece by our EAC, put together, obtaining some trees through PAIPL, 10 Million Trees Program. And residents were able to pick up those. They signed up ahead of time. They came in, they picked those up. There was an email I believe you all received from me, indicated, went to the Park and Rec, and so we have some that are left over. So we're gonna be looking for a home for them somewhere here in the township, as best we possibly can. We wanted to give first crack to our Park and Rec to do that. And again, they had their tree pickup this last Sunday, from 11 till 2. As far as I know, my feedback from Tom Kime was that it went off without a hitch. It was very well done. So appreciate the support of also our Public Works team in that. Made sure they had the space to put those under cover until they were, is that way, I think we picked them up on the 10th, and then they were distributed on the 13th. The next thing on that list, they do have some room in their budget. I think their total is $2,000. They spent some on a program back in the spring with the Hawk Mountain, the Hawk Watch, and then they also had a little bit they spent for some planting that'll be out here in front of the Township building, which is actually on D. But there's room left over there. They're requesting a $200 donation to PAIPL, the 10 Million Trees program. What they do is essentially they'll find native trees, plant shrubbery for replacement, so we can get out invasive species and then they replace it with that. Just again, they're requesting a motion to approve the $200 donation to them.
I think we can make a motion for the $200 donation to the PAIPL 10 Million Trees for a free tree program.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy,
Yes.
Mr. Gallow,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Bitler,
Yes.
I vote yes.
All right, and then finally here with the ACs, the planting of native garden by the Township the sign will take place on November 2nd, 2021, from 9 to 11.
And everybody can be there to volunteer and help, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Any new business?
No, sir.
Anything else before executive session?
You have old business.
We have a newsletter on there, have you any?
I requested that. I requested it because we've talked about it and you can put it out there, but people who don't have access to computers, don't choose to, older people, I think it's a better way to keep everybody informed. If we're all worried about how the community's informed of things, well, we're only reaching so many people that way.
Did you have the information that we told us before?
We did.
You know, that where it would almost be no cost to the township based on.
The cost is very minimal for us. If I recall correctly, sir, the cost was somewhere around $1,500 to $2,000 a mailing, somewhere in that general range. We'd probably look to do, I would suggest 2 to 3 mailings per year, just to keep the township informed. I think it would be a good, and most of the cost for these is actually absorbed by advertisement, which, if you remember the old maps programs used to come out, they put out the maps and they'd have that.
Well, they called me for Daniel Boone, and that's why I had you put it back on, because I got a call from Birdsboro to do it, because I have a place in Birdsboro, that's fine. But I told her if I was gonna spend my money, I was gonna spend it in Robeson. So I think we have enough businesses that we could, you know, try to make the cut even better.
I guess keep this on the agenda for next month.
Yeah, see if you can get us the information, please.
Can do again.
Thank you.
I'll try to resend it. I think there's an email that I sent with
There
a lot of
was.
examples. The other thing they will do for those that are more computer savvy, once they produce the hard copy, which we can send to
They'll
our
give us,
residents,
they'll give us
they
that
give us
too.
an electronic copy, which is essentially one of those where you use your mouse to, you know, or your
Yep.
finger as key to flip the page. So really, it's a benefit on both scores.
It is.
Okay, I got back.
Thank you.
All right, anything else before executive?
Mr. Chairman, it is likely, based on my review, it is likely some action will be taken by this board, is it not?
It does, depending on what we discussed, they would, there's a couple of
So there's
resolutions.
entirely possible there'll be some action taken when we come back, folks.
All right, so we will go to executive session at 8:28.
Also be advised, the
This is-
live stream is continuing. We
Yes,
we
you have
hopefully
no
won't-
privacy.
hopefully we won't be long.
Heaven forbid.
I have to bring a hearing aid, I couldn't,
Okay, well, you can rewatch it at home.
yeah. That was Bowen right before I come out.
You go.
How we doing with that traffic light?
Never, it's on my report. You're gonna get there, Harold, I'm telling you. Is that for me?
Yes.
No, you're good. Oh.
Oh, good, they came and picked it up?
Mm-hmm, yes.
I did check, I can assure you.
Yeah, I don't think the light's on.
fast last night, did you hear? I thought so. That's what I heard.
That's ridiculous, if that's true.
They said it was on the meeting agenda, I just didn't hear it.
I don't have to pay attention to the system.
I see them also.
That was like Crystal Springs.
I was gonna say, where are you going?
The 5 gallon Crystal Springs.
Okay, question of the day, how much of urine is water?
Huh?
How much of urine is water?
Oh,
No,
no idea.
95%. You should know that, because you might have had to drink it.
Well, I tell you what, it's gonna be clear. I can tell you that. I drank a lot. It was, but Crystal Springs is good, you know. All right, I'm heading down in there. Oh, Barry. I want you to come with. I think that's appropriate for, yeah, 'cause we have fun. I don't think that's appropriate then.
It's a help.
Hey, Barry. Yeah, come on.
Oh. Wow. Been rock. Been rock. I'm sorry, that's fine, it's not for your fault. I mean, you'd be happy someplace and still could offer opportunity.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of places that are getting first retirement for medical for their man and their wife. Unlimited overtime, $130,000 a year. It's kind of hard to see any access to better medical benefits.
See, it's awful expensive for small power customers to do this, to maintain this. You know, someone gets actually that has a business, even $200, it's not their goal. You know, we don't have the base. I mean, no, we're not. We don't have anything to bring anything in this space, bring anything in. We've dumped houses everywhere. And the only opportunity we have would be next door or solid space. You know, it's only big properties on something like that.
I think isn't that one comes up usually?
It's next door. No, sorry.
We'll have to do something.
I called them trying to get something in there. And we do, I forgot how many $1 billion a year in business. And they don't care. They don't care. And there's so many liabilities with getting rid of that they won't budge on. Because if they know some of the stuff that's in, they won't budge.
I'm slow that, isn't it? Come up with like even a year or two or something.
Well, it comes up periodically, it is all the time. I was over for, when, see, DEP, EPA, Fish and Wildlife, everybody was up there. And, they all looked at it and, you know, they're saying, well, it's kind of minimal. This company don't want to send us from the wildlife. Was it Love Canal, remember that? Yeah. And they got sued to $1,000 involved and, ended up going bankrupt. And according to DEP or EPA, whatever is built over here, you can't have a 24-hour-a-day occupancy, so it can't be a home or anything like that, so it's gonna be a business. Now, Galen Brown, when he was on, he got a deal with one of the trash hauls to put a, transfer station here. But then he budgeted like $2.5 and the millions of dollars we were large.
You need something like that. To start something, and that'll start the rest of the problems with it.
You know, like I said, you know, at one time, all
time they were, didn't they say they were in discussions with the union?
Well, it looks like there's probably between them and Beacons. And Beacons I sold right then.
Of all things, when freaking kids at that, you take the bolt bottom of the crossbow and we'll just use the target bolts. We'll really take this crossbow bolt out, it has expanded my broadhead.
People know that, it's not a great damage.
That is, you like that?
We have Band-Aids are hard to come by.
Oh, no, you know what I do when I get home? So overnight, I'll put a bunch of super glue on there, and wrap it, and then in the morning, I'll pull it all off. Super glue will stay, it kind of like it's in there. Stays in it, so be for a while, it'll get right.
But that would be a great, like, industrial commercial side too. It's got to get off there. But also, there's two carved up in rolls. Imagine stirring up all those chemicals. You're freaking dead in a week.
DEP lives warehouses for that, but she said for some reason they don't want to.
There's a bunch of cedar trees in there. Well, we're actually had a fire for some of them. They live in some of the animals, but cedar trees.
Nope.
I just don't see.
So up there, have you ever, so the reason that I actually did the permit here for, St. Lawrence is because my dad's house is so nice. I just did, honestly, I did it just for turkey, for turkeys, and I'll have shop and everything, $4 or something. So what they make you do is when you park up there, they give you a little placard, you sit in there, make sure it gives your name and all that stuff. That's like, buddy, he owns some, like a big property. They actually use shooting. Yeah, which is kind of a joke, at 25 yards, you gotta shoot 3 hours inside a paper plate. And that's what it is at St. Lawrence. But that's a good use of the place. So they have this giant bottle of, like, the middle one, there's this guy, I don't know if he's working for this, that owns, of course, all land up there. And then it's truly land. And what he uses it for is for that. Because when we were kids, people would just go up there, and that's where we would go to shoot our guns. And we met him one day, and he was like, he was kind of. And then he had a, like a little placard. No, we don't need to drag it out any longer, let me move on.
He's coming back to face his fan base. Wow, did the fan base wait for him? While he's down there ranting? He's a little kid?
Well, at least you guys have the sense to go out in the hallway. It's amazing.
I feel that I'm trying to run TikTok.
I have a question for you.
Do you know anything on the whole road?
It's my chicken process.
Yeah. We just did
You know,
our bid,
when you go
our
by,
bid's 30 of them.
by the, on the right hand side, by the river, okay?
Now, all I do is halves,
The what?
Over the road.
Yeah, when you go by there,
so like we don't, I don't do it for, like we just do it
from my
for,
knowledge,
you know,
like down by,
friends and stuff.
down by Chris's.
But yeah, so all we do is
Where
halves,
you used to live,
we don't do like the
You
legs
are allowed
and
to
stuff,
use
you'll
that.
get the legs, but
Right.
basically it's a half shape.
yes,
Yeah, why, how many you want?
yeah, but
I'm not in
people are
charge of
using
that, I
them,
was asked
look
to
how
ask
long
and
it
do.
goes from. But we
Now I have
can't
the
allow
answer.
that to the best of
I'll
my
get back to
knowledge,
you.
because that isn't their land.
Yeah, 130 of them this year,
Actually, I keep really.
Yep. we raised 30. Meat
The
chickens.
good part of that, because they're buying their house. But then there, that house up there, I don't know who lives there now, but years ago, wait for it.
Actually, I mean, it's not that hard to do, it just, you
That's
have the
my
right
point,
equipment.
there's,
Yeah.
no, that, and that's my feeling here with this, I really don't want to do that here. It's like, I want to put a solar farm out there and get passive income for the township, then let everybody home. You got plenty of state game lands for out there. They've opened that one out there on Gibraltar Hill, it's changed. Hey, look, my electric bills are negative. My electric bills, like, and I'm learning now to unplug everything. No, I just, hey, I had enough of it. You know what I mean? My electric bill was over $1,000 when it kicked in, and something went into electric heat. Okay, but this way, my electric bill's negative, but I'm gonna go unplug a bunch of things and see how much of a difference it makes.
I just got sold with a solar. Yeah, I've heard some horror stories about people in Trio and deal with.
You know what, this one is responsible for 25 years for any damages to my roof on the garage.
Who gets rid of it when it's done?
That's their problem, and they have to fix my roof too. That was the agreement with them, it's Sunnova, but it's also, they're called Ethical Energy, but I know your problems.
A friend of mine here that lives in New York. And, during the summer months, his bill is pretty much negative. During the winter months, he has to pay them like $500 or $600 a month. Because it doesn't generate enough.
I only pay one flat fee, and my electric salary the whole year round then, but I also get them to, I don't have to worry about it. I've also got a generator in propane, so I kind of go, you know, if I'm gonna lose power, I'm not off grid. So it's not gonna matter, but I still am off grid because I have a generator. I just, you know, I'd rather use something natural
Your
compensation.
solar panels, though, that goes out of the grid, right? You don't get any of that. You get, it transfers back to you as kilowatts.
Yeah.
So it's not like if, you know, it goes out here, or you don't.
Yeah.
Come back. We're gonna have a quick chat.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we? I hate my mother in the world. Man. On that against it. But, you know, the world's changing. You know, we got the same parents and, you know, the world's changing when. Jake Crown, that's his lawyer. That's not law school, we'll make it, he's a big in Carter County. That, what's his name? His wife, she's a mad woman.
Back a woman.
She got her license in there now, she's. I'm gonna show you what's happening in the neighborhood. That's me, I'm the CEO.
All right, we'll get back into session at 8:51. We did discuss personnel and legal issues. We do have some further items to discuss and make a motion on. We did discuss personnel as mentioned for some public works crew members.
Okay, so these would be resolutions 2024-23 and 24. First of these is for Jared Knight, serves as Public Works crew member. Probationary employee is provided by the collective bargaining agreement, and authorizing his hire. So this would be 2024-23.
Anyone would like to make a motion to Jared Knight, 24-23. Anyone like to make that motion?
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second motion.
Roll call, Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Bello.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And the second would be to request a motion from the board, resolution 2024-24, authorizing the hire of Christian Sixtos Flores for a Public Works crew member position
And I
per
will
the
make,
collective bargaining agreement.
I will make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mayor, roll call, Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Bello.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Bittler.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Any other needs to make a motion, unless anyone wants to make a motion to adjourn at 8:53.
I'll do that.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Jeff, we'll give you credit for it. Doesn't matter. Hey guys, when you go out, you might wanna look, there's stuff about recycling that, you know, you can take it over to the dump. People may wanna see that.
Fall cleanup.
Yeah, fall cleanup. I posted it out on my Facebook. I just didn't share it anywhere else. I
We'll have
did
some
share it.
checks and some things to sign.
I'll share it with you guys.
What's that?
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
You. Yeah.
I live in Lake Chapel. Storage fees for $100 a day, $100 a month. No.
We're gonna hold these aside, those are the rest of the junk prepared, so I prefer.
I think there was a picture one time that he.
Yeah, like how we got here.
I know.
I'm doing what we got here on Tuesday, on Thursday.
All right, you can hang out in the car, I'll be out shortly, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Yeah, right.
Resolution 2022.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you know,
Okay.
Oh, that's just-
yeah. I didn't know, right, he said the meeting was because of that went really well, so. Okay, yeah, I talked to him.
So I actually have to sign the back.
Two of them?
Yeah, yeah, it's in Lansdale.
No, you weren't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send your father after you.
Oh, okay, okay, I knew it was in one of those industrial type areas. Yeah. Different people have been talking. Yeah, I don't think they're like that. But they're, they're good for them, I respected them. Yeah. They represent Douglas, Joe Brewery had represented Douglas for 3 years, and then he died, and Bernadette Carney represents him now. Yeah. Who's that? Oh, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I remember what story. Oh, I don't know about that, I remember a story like that, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, good. Yeah. What do you mean? Well, we'll wait for, I mean, Jason has somebody working on it. I'll wait for them to, well,
You know, you want to just do them, I'll pass them over and then finish that. That's one, that's number two. Yeah, they were telling me like they all have to have the trees the same trash company. They all have to have the same business, their trash cans will be the same color. They're not allowed to be put out before like 8 PM the night before, it must be removed from the curb by noon that day, like, and they're not, they cannot be visible from the road. They had to have like a little shed or a community land.
yeah,
Got all this
the
money.
thing is that I just never made it aware of the police, so. Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
I saw the video.
We took copies of it.
Claims to be a rep, I don't know where this guy, he was going around to people's houses, banging their doors, complaining that they're like their Amazon packages left on the porch too long. And tapes from, this one was, that was just great, keep it with it.
I mean, the thing is that everybody's operating under.
You know, it's awesome. Resolution for you, Scott.
Let's do this. Start fresh, start.
Yeah, if it's signed, yeah, perfect. The other paper we can sign that, or Rich has that in the office. The state makes you sign, Rich, do you have that paper with you for the relief check? That I have, like, the treasurer has to sign, they took it? Otherwise, I won't touch it till you have that.
Let's just get a document we can work with and.
I can stop in.
Yeah, I'll,
Have, you or Sheila get a hold of me, you have it in front of you, I'll swing it inside.
Set of things that in December we do this, or January we do this. And I think that's the way we need to go forward from there on. And operate on the release that way, get something really good, because remember, this lease. Signed in 1986. Right. Well, actually, I did something. Right. He moved somewhere else. Okay, that's fine. Right, what I took out all references to the EPA grant, and I put in more references to the grants that we get going forward.
Yeah. And not someone else, yeah. Yeah. No, we for
He is, yes.
We good on those, Rich? Should I sign that?
no, this one you didn't need.
You just need Joy there for her.
Yeah, he's for, they're experienced firms in the field already.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean, we've been operating, we've just things out. We're working from our- That's the danger. When one thing comes along and, my point is that and now, yeah, I mean, I guess I got along with him fine, I thought he was very knowledgeable.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think I'm pretty interested to see Yankees win. I really have no, I don't want either to win. I'm actually rooting for the Mets. I'm not. Exactly. That's not the only reason.
Yeah.
Did you hear Francisco Lindor's comments after they won? Listen, he came into this game knowing that the Phillies weren't gonna back him, right? They're 15 and he respected.
It did happen.
So it's like, listen, it's not like, he wasn't like people.
Yeah.
He had to because it was on the side.
This year's Mets team is
Yeah.
2 years ago Phillies team, which never should have even gotten
No,
the
it's
playoffs.
intentional.
Maybe they can close it. The Mets, maybe they can close it. I don't know. The Phillies couldn't. They're all yours and what's yours. But then there's the other thing. The Yankees have how many World Series wins already? One more isn't gonna make them feel bad. I don't wanna see the Mets. I'll hold that over.
My brother has a son.
They pay Bobby Bonilla more money than I'll make in my lifetime every June, you know? Yeah. Ridiculous amount of money.
My brother has the Sunday plan, so then he gets like two tickets, whatever, for each thing, but then when it ends up happening, they'll end up
See you later.
opening it up.
Nice, Joe. Have a nice
Opening it
evening.
up. So you have nothing up this year to leave it far enough, and then I'll be able to get extra. At like $50, $60, whatever, with the, the ticket price. So last year, we, the World Series with Houston.
Oh, yeah.
We were there, but that cost $60. $60. It wasn't,
Manageable.
Yeah, it wasn't like you hear the,
I know my son keeps asking, he was asking me, can you get tickets in the playoffs? I started looking, it was like, I could find it for like $500 each. I'm like, oh, I'm not dropping $1,000 on tickets.
Yeah, my
I heard
brother,
you.
when we went to the Houston game, he was he had 4 extra, so he had 2 that he was given the Sunday plan. He got 4 more, so it was me, my wife, and just 2 more.
Oh, nice. I'll see you do that. Even like $350 ticket, I'm like, no. He's like, I found it for $350. I'm like, yeah.
You go to concerts like that?
I guess.
Yeah, wait, I was smiling, cause I'm like,
Ball game,
I understand that.
would last longer than a concert.
no, I'll take the concert. Yeah, I'll take the concert. I'm just hoping the concert's on a Friday, okay? I don't like concerts that are on a weeknight, they just don't seem right. Here, double check. Everybody got everything there, I think. I gotta get some more,
I'll talk to you back on anything else, this afternoon. If we get somebody, and then they can practice with the equipment here, I will volunteer to take them off.
I think it's all just riches, cause I tried to jump.
What's that?
Well, I think you have to sign the other ones. The last ones are just yours. The rest of them are
help, ma'am?
No, I'm good. You can wrap my shop now.
I'm gonna start giving you back, don't we have the ones that you can just, don't we have a little big stapler?
I don't think so.
The
Those are
last
almost
thing-
those are almost binder clip size. So, like, I'm not going to give the binders.
That kind of stays now.
You do love measuring.
Yeah, you could do that.
Flip them over, try like that next time if you want. Just see. Or you put them on binders for you, fancy.
Then we have to give you a binder back every week.
You're Halloween Joe.
I never done
It's
it.
like when you see the crazy witches. Too many Halloweenies.
Where'd you park there, Scott? Is it? Man? Oh, man.
It's already scratched up.
I know.
All right.
But